Hi, welcome to Business Influencers. I'm your host, Chris Salem. Welcome new listeners that if you just found us here on the TAL Radio platform, we hope you're enjoying many of the different content areas on the TAL Radio platform, short for Touch of Life Foundation. Touch of Life has been around now for over 4 years, and we've been excited to be part of their platform since day one with Business Influencers. And again, we want to thank our existing listeners that have been with us from day one as well. Again, we've been committed each and every week bringing in subject matter experts, sharing their words of wisdom and insights to help elevate you and your business level of influence to the next level. It's through the power of influence that you can encourage and empower the audience that you serve to now take action, to get buy-in, to reduce the number of touch points, for them to convert and close on your idea or business, whatever it may be. And that's what we do here at Business Influencers. We encourage you to also follow us not only on talradio.org, also on our YouTube channel for the video portion, as well as Spotify and Apple, where you can get the audio portion of the show. So feel free to subscribe to those areas as well. Our show is being brought to you today by Alumni Direct. Alumni Direct is a social media community platform dedicated to bringing alumni together from all different generational types and an opportunity to meet new people for the first time. Now, it is a membership program, taking out all the noise out of social media. You get to generate genuine and authentic relationships with the people you choose to interact with. If you'd like some more information about Alumni Direct, check them out at alumnidirect.com. That's alumnidirect.com. Well, we're going to be talking today about steering through volatility, a financial services leadership playbook. And this is going to be an exciting topic, and I know you're going to enjoy it. And we're going to be here today with Rob Haynie. He is referred to as Mr. Life Settlements. You're going to learn what life settlements are and how they can play an important role in navigating through this volatility and how you can now come ahead. He has been a major influence on the evolution of the life settlement industry during his 32-year career of proactive involvement. Not only has he been directly involved in negotiating and settling several thousand contracts, he also presently serves as the chairman of the board of directors of the Life Insurance Settlement Association, called LISA, that's the acronym, and is a charter member of the association's PPC committee, which is charged with regulatory and legislative activities of the industry. On October the 24th of 2024, he recently was the recipient of the prestigious Alan H. Buerger Leadership Award. The AHB Leadership Award honors industry leaders who have made significant contributions to support the development and growth of those members of LISA and the life settlement marketplace. And then soon after, in November of 2024, he was also named one of the Finseca, again, NAILBA's ID20 award recipients that honor independent distribution, most courageous innovators and visionaries who made important contributions to the insurance profession. Now, I can keep going on. He just has accolades after accolades, and I can keep going on and on and on. But you'll find out more information how to get in contact with Rob to learn more here later in the show. And without further ado, we welcome Rob Haynie to the show. Rob, how are you doing today?
Great, Chris. Thanks for asking.
Absolutely. Great to have you here. It is a pleasure. You know, let's talk a little bit about, I mean, we're living through some really uncertain times, and not to say that it's been uncertain like before, because it has. There's always uncertainty around.
Sure.
If we lived in certainty, we all be millionaires, we'd all be, living the high life, and there's always going to be challenges, obstacles, that come along the way. It's how we navigate and steer our way through it. Love to get some background from you about, your approach to this through life settlements. And before we do so, some of the listeners might want to know, that might be listening, what is a life settlement? What is it? And what got you into this that you're going to be sharing with us today, how this can play an important role in what we're doing with this uncertainty?
Well, good place to start is 32 years ago last September. It was August, actually. I was approached by a friend of mine in a gym who mentioned that he was in a new business at that point called the medical settlement industry. And what they did was they helped people that were afflicted with HIV and AIDS predominantly, but mainly a terminal illness, sell their life insurance policy while they were alive and use the money for different things such as medication, etc. But the way it was presented to me initially was, I thought maybe I had just heard the most ghoulish thing I'd ever heard in my life. And I just said, there's absolutely zero chance I'm going to do this. Finished my workout and drove my car down the street, got to the first traffic light. I remember exactly where I was in Winter Park, Florida. And as I was waiting at the light, another light went off, the light bulb. And I said, wait a minute. You're keeping the insurance companies honest. Sign me up. I'm in. So I told my girlfriend, now my wife, and my mother, and a few other people what I was doing. My mother didn't talk to me for 4 months.
She's like, what is this business?
Like, what are you doing? You know, throwing away your career, which wasn't much of a career at the time. It was commercial real estate. Talk about a tough market in the beginning of the 1990s. But anyway, long story short, 32 years later, I'm talking to Chris Salem on his podcast. So a life settlement is a sale of an existing life insurance policy that nobody wants anymore, that nobody needs anymore, or unfortunately in many cases today, can't afford it. So rather than lapse it or surrender, which is what the insurance companies want you to do, because they don't have to pay the claim. 90% of life insurance, by the way, is never goes to claim. These folks find people like financial planners, estate planners, or maybe coming to me directly or someone else directly, and they find investors who will buy that life insurance policy today and pay you a percentage of death benefit over and above the cash surrender value, should you have any. In the case of a term policy, anything over zero is a win. And then you can use that money for whatever you need to do. So unlike medical settlements, where it was probably trying to buy those AIDS drugs that weren't on the market, weren't FDA approved, you can now use it to pay off your house, pay for your grandchildren's education, move into into a long-term care facility, or retrofit your home so you can age in place. It's your money. If you want to take it and buy a car or go on vacation through Europe for 6 months to a year, you can do that too. The key is people do not know that their life insurance policy has the same ownership characteristics as a home. In 1911, Chief Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes, in a Supreme Court decision, ruled that life insurance has the same properties as a real asset, and that it is yours and you can do with it as you please. So that's why people gift life insurance to philanthropic organizations, because it's theirs to do that with. They may continue to make the premium payments, but the person who receives the money, obviously in the case of 501c3, gets the money tax-free. We've seen that happen. So it gives you flexibility. And the key that we try and tell people, it's an option. We're not telling you have to do this. We just want you to know you can. And we think at the end of the day, if you're going to surrender a policy for $100,000 or sell it and get $650,000, we know what you're going to take. You're going to take the $650,000, and that's what we're all about.
Got it. Wonderful. Yeah, I think that's great. Giving a little foundation, a backstory to kind of tee everything up what we're doing here. So now like let's take a look at some people that maybe they do have a life insurance policy. They forgot about it. Maybe they're going through a difficult situation and never even thought, like, my God, could I have tapped into that? I never would have realized that type of thing. Or maybe someone now that doesn't have one that might be considering something at that point. So maybe if you could get into that, because the listeners that it can be in different situations at any given time.
So first and foremost, all insurance, for whatever reason you buy it for, generally speaking, you need, right? You need to have car insurance, and you should have health insurance, and certainly life insurance is very, very valuable if you can afford it and you have a specific reason to get it. So when you think about someone who's 35, 40 years old, may buy life insurance, a couple things. One, it's much less expensive when you're younger than when you're older. And you have a whole bunch of reasons why most people at that age buy life insurance, right? They have mortgages, they have young children, they have a wife and a spouse, and they're making an income that both the spouse and the gentleman or the woman is relying upon. And if that were to go away at some point in time, such as for a death, that would be tremendously difficult on the family. So life insurance is needed. So now let's take that 35-year-old and now we're 75, right? Same life insurance policy you paid for 40 years. You never used it, thank God. But what's happened? All those reasons are gone. You've paid your home off. You may have even retired. Your children have grown up. They paid for college. And the life insurance premiums didn't get less expensive. They got more expensive. So what are your options? Unfortunately, most life insurance companies do not want their life insurance agents to talk about it. So when you call them up and say, what are my options? And Chris will make you the life insurance agent. I say, Chris, what are my options? And you want to tell them life settlements, but you also have a letter in your desk that says if you tell them about life settlements and we find out, you're fired. So you don't. Where are they going to turn to? So I like to tell agents like that, I said, look, if you're not talking to your clients about life settlements, somebody else will. And in many cases, it's that commercials that you see on TV. It's me talking on your podcast. It's the internet itself giving you this option. And we think you should be proactive. So go back to that example you said, what if you don't own life insurance, but you want life insurance? I think one of the reasons why you might buy life insurance, honestly, is because you can sell it. How do I know this? Let's apply it to your house. Do you buy what if I told you, Chris, the house you just bought, it's great, everything works great, but you can't sell it except back to me. And I'm going to tell you what it's worth. And there's no negotiation. It is, you take it or leave it. How many houses do you think would be sold if that was not many. So the same thing can't be true for life insurance when it holds the same characteristics. So we think if you put people in a position to say, okay, I'll buy it now because I might be able to sell later. Does that mean that person's going to sell it later? No. But he's armed with the knowledge that he can. And he may choose to do so or not to do so, but he buys the policy because of it. Okay, so now we're into the point where he's going to surrender the policy, and he finds out, he goes, wait a minute, surrender it, I can sell this. And he finds out he can sell it. So instead of getting $100,000, we'll use this example we used before, he gets $650. Well, the client told him to do it, his insurance agent, now is in position to benefit because the $650 gets parked over here, and they deploy that by buying an annuity. We use that as an example. Well, guess what? There's another commission that's earned. The client's in a better position because now it's income as opposed to cost of premium going into the policy. And he's in a better situation because you utilize the option of a life settlement.
Yeah.
And that's what we think. And that's what we try to do every year is to work with our friends in the insurance industry and explain that. So as you mentioned earlier, the ID20 award, this is because we've been relentlessly trying to say, we want to work with you. We will help you sell more life insurance. They're always like, we want to sell more life insurance. I go, well, here's one way you can do it. You can tell them that there's options other than lapse or surrender. And that's been the battle. And I say this tongue in cheek as a joke, but I mean, here we are 32 years later. For me, the industry's been around about 35 years, we'll call it. I think it'd be hard to argue against this, that we have probably successfully marketed to about 5%, 8% of the potential people that can benefit from this. So collectively, we're the worst marketers in the history of mankind. That we took 35 years and we got to 8%.
When you think about it, you don't see a lot of advertising around life insurance, right? And
it boggles my mind because we talk about our industry is that, like, when you work with me, I'm going to praise your policy literally for free. I'm going to tell you what it's worth. I'm going to literally tell you what it's worth, not what it could be worth, what it's going to be worth. And when people find out that it's painless, I mean, honestly, Chris, we get an offer to them, and all of a sudden we turn that policy that looked like fantasy into something that's real. They're like, wait a minute, it's worth that much? What do you think they do with it? They don't sell it. They keep it. Because now it's like they got like this rainy day fund that's inside this life insurance policy, and they think over time it will continue to get larger when they really need the money. And that's fine too, because we made it real. And that's our goal, is just trying to educate as many people as we can. And we're starting to work with, I think the smartest thing we've done as an industry is we're starting to educate people that aren't just the demographic we're targeting. We're not just going to say, let's educate 70-year-old people, right? We're educating 50-year-olds. You know why we're doing that? Who do you think's in charge of mom and dad's life insurance policy? Kids. Because kids are going to get it, and the kids are also going to make sure it's paid for. And when mom and dad don't have the money to pay for it, and the kids certainly don't want to pay for it, what are their options? And one of them is to take the cash now and use that for whatever you're going to use it for. And I talk a lot about retirement in this country and how expensive it is. It is absolutely out of control. I live in South Florida, and I can tell you, checking into assisted living facility or a memory care facility or even an adult community, you might as well just go to the Ritz-Carlton. It's
exactly.
It's the same.
It's the same. And you probably get better service.
Probably, yeah. Honestly, not crazy.
Yeah, it's expensive, no doubt about it. Wow. I love how you explain it, because it's one of those areas that people they've heard, obviously everyone's heard about life insurance, but they really don't know all the nooks and crannies about it, like all the things that you can do with it when you're alive. Like they think it's like, oh, you got to die in order to reap the benefits of a life insurance policy, and there's all these options, like you said, just that for whatever reason are not out there, but you have made that difference of getting that out there and letting people know and how it can be utilized in other ways that can benefit them in whatever particular time they are in their lives or business.
Well, yeah, to your point, like for example, life insurance, a lot of people don't even know you can reduce the face, right? Or you can split a policy into two policies, right? You can say, I want to make Bill the beneficiary of this, and he doesn't like Carol, but I'm going to make Carol the beneficiary of that. So now your one policy became two, but you can also keep one half of the policy and sell the other half, use the proceeds from the other half to pay for this half, because most people need life insurance at the end of their life for burial, funeral.
Burial, I know there's final life expense, but a lot of times, I know there's some policies out there that, it doesn't matter if you have cancer, but you're paying a higher rate, and a lot of times you're going to get denied for final life.
Exactly. Yeah. It's good that. So we want to, we talk about options. People can borrow against their life insurance policies. People can change their beneficiary at any time, but it's not explained. They're really just being pushed through a system where it's like here. A lot of people go online and go, I'm going to go to Direct Quote or Select Quote and all these, and I'm going to get rid of the insurance agent. No, you're not. There's an insurance agent. You just don't talk
insurance agent. Yeah.
So they're getting paid. That's how life insurance company is sold, because they're incentivized the agent to sell the policy. And like I said, sometimes, and I don't mean this in all cases, but life insurance is not easy, as you mentioned here. It's not easy to understand. Well, there's people that sell it that have no idea what they've sold. They understand how it moves. They understand, what this means, what that means. They don't, and they certainly don't explain it to the client. The client just knows.
That's just it, and that's where I think there's a disconnect, and because, like you said, the person selling to you may not be as knowledgeable as you would think they are with it. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Powerful. What would be some things like when it comes to a financial services playbook? If somebody's going to be prepared for, is this something that you would say, hey, if you have a life insurance policy, get up to speed on what are the options out there in the event if you had to do something like that, or maybe you should be considering life insurance, for whatever.
So you probably, given your subject matter and who you talk to on a regular basis, the most common thing you'll hear is an annual policy review. Every year, as part of, if you're successful, from the people that I work with that are the most successful have systems in place that they're talking to their relationships at a minimum of once a year, right?
A year, annual, the review.
But there's also people that are also talking to them more. So, and your annual policy review shouldn't be based upon when you get a lapse notice. It should be talking about, do they have enough life insurance? Forget the fact that we're trying to sell it. In my case, what if the client's got a net worth of X and but in actuality it's a net worth of Y? Do they even have enough life insurance? Maybe there's an opportunity to sell more life insurance to the insured so they can get it while they're younger. Again, we're not talking about just people that are older. We're talking about in general. So if you're in a practice of looking at a life insurance policy, like for example, I have a term policy, and this I just found out today, so I'll just share this with you live. So I've had a term policy for a couple years, 20, actually, coming up on 20 years.
Does that have a return of premium rider on it, or just regular term?
This is a term policy that I buy term. I know too much about life insurance to buy anything else, so I buy term. and then at 20 years, I'm going to be 62 in June. I will not have the right to to renew the term, because it'll go past 70. So I have to make the decision now to buy a permanent product. And they just told me the price, and then I went to the bathroom and got sick, and then came back in for your show. But that's what happens. So you talk about these annual policy reviews, and you say to somebody, "Hey, guess what? That premium you're paying was $2,600 a year, or $4,200 a year, whatever the number is. Yeah, now it's $19,000. And what are the decisions that need to be made?" So these things you can start preparing for in advance. I have an amazing life insurance agent that I got after the fact, that I become friends with. He's one of these guys that just literally can rip apart a policy and tell you every single penny, where it's going, why it's going there. So I'm gonna do well. I'm still gonna pay more money, obviously, because I'm older. But those are the things. I mean, just in general, make it a point to talk to your client about their overall wealth picture. What does it look like? So when I argue, when I give presentations to CPAs and try and get them to get involved in our business, it's very hard, because they're the busiest people on planet Earth. But if you really think about it, who knows your financial picture better than your CPA? Nobody. Because they know all the money going out,
they know everything, business or personal, it doesn't matter.
All of it. They know it all. And they're the best suited. So a lot of my better agents work with a whole slew of CPAs to farm for these life insurance policies, because the CPA wants to do it but doesn't have the time, and says, okay, so-and-so 70, they've got a large life insurance policy, you should talk to them. And then that's how they get the lead. So that's what we're doing to try and grab the clients that we've worked with in the past. So our marketplace has, generally speaking, been a high net worth marketplace until recently. You'll see the TV ads. Now we're more of a direct consumer, which again was back in what we were doing in the 90s when I first started this job. So we're talking to people that aren't as sophisticated, aren't as wealthy, and to your point, don't even know who their life insurance agent is. Life insurance agent is gone. The person that sold a policy 30 years ago isn't even in this business, may not even be alive. So they're orphan policyholders. So this gives an opportunity for people that I talk to go find these orphan policyholders, or sometimes we take those orphan policyholders and hand them to an agent that we work with to try and get them in a better position to teach them what they can do with their life insurance policy, because they don't know. No one's telling. There's no annual policy review there. It's just a bill. So.
Wow. I love this. This is great information. I hope everybody that's listening is getting some great value and insights that you might want to check out now more about life settlement. And obviously you're going to learn more about here in a little bit on how you can get in touch with Rob. So Rob, we have about, a few minutes before we get to the end of the show. I wanted to see if there was anything else that we have not covered that you feel is really going to be important to kind of connect the dots to what you shared here today with the listeners.
So the only thing I would say to kind of just to understand, so people understand what we're talking about here, is our industry, back to my early marketing, to 5 to 8%. We buy between somewhere between 3.5 and $5 billion of life insurance on an annual basis as an industry every year. Somewhere in that, some back and forth that you're going to rotate. It's been higher before. In the mid 2000s, it was like 8 to 10 billion. But now, when you think about that, that seems like a lot of money. That's a lot of policies. Well, every year in America, $112 billion of life insurance is lapsed or surrendered by people over the age of 65, on top of the 4 or 5 that we bought. So let's be honest, all 112 of that will not be a qualified life settlement candidate, but it's just to show you the numbers of life insurance that's been put in force and then goes off the books. And the life insurance company keeps all that money. So you say to yourself, what's that real number? I say it's probably like 25 billion is probably a number inside of there that could have been either a life settlement now or in the not too distant future, which if someone were to advise them to keep the policy a couple more years, it's going to be more valuable, they would do that. So as I tell people about my business, and I tell them that it's really not even started yet. It really has. It's so small and so minuscule in the eyes of most Americans. And the reason I say it is, people say it's like looking for a needle in a haystack, and I stop them and say it isn't. It's like taking the needle, breaking the tip of the needle off, and throwing the tip into the haystack and finding it. That's a life settlement. But why is it important to talk to people like you and for your listeners and your audience? It's because if just one person that's listening to your show now or 3 weeks from now, a light bulb goes off in his or her head that they've got a life insurance policy, that's the reason I talk to people like you.
Love it.
I will never get to your folks individually. They don't know who I am, but they certainly know who you are. So that's why it's valuable for me to speak to people, professionals like you, who did a great job with this podcast.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Rob, for taking the time out of your schedule to be with us here. We greatly appreciate you here, not only for myself and the team, but also for everybody at the Touch of Life Foundation for sharing this insight with us. I'd like you to, how can the audience get in contact with you? What are you up to, or anything that you'd like to offer them?
So very easily, my cell phone is 954-599-4433. You can call me anytime, day or night. Just leave a detailed message how you got my number, and I'll be more than happy to call you back at my earliest convenience. My email is rob@lisettlements.com, and the name of my company is Life Insurance Settlements, and our website is lisettlements.com.
Great. And we're going to make sure all of that is in the show notes as well. And if for any reason, you could also reach out to us, and we'll make sure to connect you with Rob as well. Thank you again, Rob, for taking the time to be with us here.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And listeners, we want to thank you each and every week joining us here at Business Influencers. Again, it's all about influence. Influence is the ability to be the example, be a resource, and encouraging and empowering your audience now to take action with an idea, something that's going to help move them forward. And we are committed, again, each and every week, bringing in people like Rob to share their insights to help you do that. Till then, everybody, have a great rest of your week. We'll be back at the same time next week, and we wish everybody a successful rest of your week. Take care.